Y'all already know what it is. Jay Williams, Let's Live Life, and we're back. Monday, start of the work week, back at the grind. But I wanted to touch on a topic today because it's a topic that just don't go away. Something I see more and more in the news. Something that most people don't think about, but it's an everyday occurrence. Kids that kill. I said it, kids that kill. Kids that kill adults, other kids, family members. It's something that's always been happening and something that's always going to continue to happen. It's harder to predict what a child is going to do because they still haven't done the things that put the label on them of unpredictable in some cases. Today we're going to touch on child killers. Kids that kill. Kids that ain't even, reached 18 years old yet. I've done time with guys that committed crimes when they were juveniles. And you still hear about it to this day. Y'all know I done seen it. You know I done lived it. So let's relive it. So when I was like 14, maybe 15, I was in the detention center. Locked up. Being an idiot. And we used to have to go to class. If you were under 13, they put you in a section called B1. And if you were over the age of 13, they put you in B2. Me being over 13, I was in B2 with the older kids. And the only thing that separated us from the younger kids was a glass window. Then in school, when we had school, we would all sit together if we were in that class, whatever it would be, right? All right, well, there's this girl that sits next to me by the name of Wendy. She sat there. They usually told us where to sit. They had these little desks they pulled into the day room. A teacher would come in and we'd listen to the teacher talk. The girl sat next to me for months on end, every single day. She never talked to anybody. She stayed real quiet. I never seen her smile, right? And she would always cry. I didn't know why she was crying. Didn't understand why she was crying. I didn't know anything about her case. They had me in the cell with an Asian dude at the time, and he never really spoke either. So I'm sitting there beside this girl one day, and she just starts crying. Like, she's not sobbing. She's not making any noise. I'm just like kind of glancing around the room with everybody while the teacher's talking. And I look to my right, and she's sitting there, and she's got tears running down her face. So I ask her, "Are you okay?" And she kind of looks at me, wipes her face, and looks back at the teacher. So I'm like, all right. Go back to watching. A short time later, she starts crying again, and I can hear her sniffling this time. I look over, I'm like, "Hey, you all right? Everything all right?" "Yeah, I'm okay." Only time she ever spoke to me, right? Her and another girl end up getting into it one day. The girl said something to her, and they would let the guys and the girls, we go to school together. We didn't leave the detention center, just right there in this big open room. And this girl, I don't know what she said to her, but whatever she said caused her to snap. They were just coming in the room. We were just coming in, and her and this girl go to rumbling. They go to fighting, right? Well, in the midst of her and the girl fighting, she drops this little composition notebook that she used to write in. I guess it was, like for classwork and whatnot. The guards break them up, take them both to the cells and lock them down, and I pick up her composition book and go sit at my desk, right? Of course, I looked in it. Curiosity gets the best of me. And when I first opened it, it was the weirdest thing. All in the cover of the book was just different things she had wrote. "I love you, Mom. Mom, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. God, forgive me. Mom, I'm sorry. Mom, I miss you." And then I flip to the back of the book, and it's the same thing on the inside cover. And then it's just pages upon pages upon pages of this girl saying, "Mom, I'm sorry. God, forgive me. Mom, please forgive me. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it." So now it's piqued my interest into, why is she locked up? Like, she must upset her mom a lot. You know what I mean? So I keep the little notebook for a couple of days. They go on 72-hour lockdown. When you get to fighting in the detention center, you're either going 24, 48, or 72. They just put you in your cell, and you're just not allowed to do any of the activities for the day. You don't get to come out. They bring your tray to your cell. You don't get to go to school, gym, none of that. You stay in your cell for the 72 hours, right? Well, while she was in there, I started talking to some of the dudes on my wing. And I'm like, what's up with the girl, Wendy? And I didn't show her book to everybody, right? I just put it with my book and laid it by my door underneath my book. And they're like, what do you mean what's up with her? I'm like, they're like, well, you like her? She's crazy. I said, why is she crazy? Well, I mean, why is she locked up? They're like, you don't know that's the girl that was going to Thomasdale High School and was supposed to go to this football game with her boyfriend, and her mom wouldn't let her go. And she shot and killed her mom with a shotgun. I said, what? They were like, yeah, and she's saying she didn't mean to, that she was in the other bedroom and had picked the shotgun up, and her and her mom had been arguing, and she shot through the wall and it killed her mom. So she's locked up for murdering her mom. I said, okay, that's crazy. So we go back to school a couple of days later. She comes back into class, sits down beside me, and I'm like, hey, you dropped your notebook. And I handed it to her, and she looked at me like, gave me one of those looks like, did you look in my notebook? Why do you have my notebook? I just told her, look, when y'all got to fighting, I picked it up, you know what I mean? So I give her the notebook, and she's sitting there beside me, and we're just going through class. And a little bit later, I'm like, hey. And she's like, just looks at me. I said, look, if you ever need to talk to anybody, you can talk to me. There's nothing to talk about. I said, okay. I left it be. She would go on to get sentenced and sent away. I don't know how much time she got. I ended up getting out. But if I had to put a guess on it, I'd say she was held till she was either 21 or 24 and released. She's not the only child or kid that I did time with that had murdered somebody or murdered a family member. She's just one of those people that stuck out to me due to what she had written in that notebook. Do I think that she felt remorse for what she did? Absolutely. Do I think that makes it okay? No. She claimed that the whole thing was an accident, that she was angry. They did get to arguing. She had picked the shotgun up, just like, kind of like acting like what she would do, and the shotgun went off, and it, killed her mom. So with that being said, I'm going to get into some stories that are in the headlines, have been in the headlines here recently or in the past year on things going on. And I want y'all to comment. I'll give you little bits and pieces of my input, my thoughts, and what I believe. And it's just an opinion. Nobody's opinion is wrong. Nobody's opinion is right. That's why it's an opinion. It's just what you think. Well, we're going to get into child killers, man, and some of the details and the things they've done and what I think the outcome should be. Y'all make sure to jump in the comment section after the video and do the same.
Guilty in the stabbing death of his 13-year-old classmate. Aiden Fucci was arrested after the body of Tristan Bailey was found on Mother's Day. Florida authorities say the cheerleader had been stabbed 114 times, with at least 49 defensive stab wounds to her arms, head, and hands.
Do you understand these rights as I just explained those to you?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let me tell you what you are charged with. You have been indicted by the St. Johns County Grand Jury on the charge of first-degree premeditated murder. That is a capital felony that is normally punishable by up to death or life imprisonment.
Because Aiden is under 18, he cannot be given the death penalty if he is convicted. Originally charged with second-degree murder and held in a juvenile detention center, the Florida State Attorney is now charging Aiden with first-degree murder as an adult.
And it was not a difficult decision to make that he should be charged as an adult. It's a sad decision and a sad state of affairs, but it was clear to us after we looked at what happened that it was not only appropriate to charge the defendant as an adult, but it was really the only choice.
Aiden Fucci has been transferred to an adult jail, but authorities say he is being held in a separate wing away from adults. A lawyer submitted a written not guilty plea on behalf of Aiden Fucci, who is being held without bond.
That's crazy. 114 times. Do you know the type of rage it takes to stab somebody 114 times? Do you know the anger that it would take to do something like that? I've done time with guys that killed his teens that were doing life sentences. And for the most part, I would say almost all of them, and I met these guys later on in life. This is just my opinion. Most of them guys I've met, I would say 9 out of 10 needed to be right where they were. Because as they got older, they became more aggressive, more violent, and just worse than they were on the day they were locked up. They said they went on to charge him as an adult. My opinion, he should be charged as an adult. The sad thing is, nobody wins, regardless of what the outcome is in these situations. The little girl, rest in peace, bless her heart, leaves behind a family, lots of family members that will have a hole in their heart until the day they die. She died in such a violent manner, a senseless act of violence. Then you've got the family of the little boy, and I'm sure most people are like, man, fuck his family. His family didn't, they didn't do that to the girl. But then they've got to deal with him being locked up for the rest of his life. They've also, in a sense, and it's not comparable on any level because he's alive, but in a sense, they've lost as well. That's why I said, regardless of what happens, nobody wins in these situations. See, a lot of people, they debate on what should happen when somebody that young does something like that. It's debatable. Is his brain developed enough to know right from wrong? Should he be held accountable because of his age? America has put the age limit on what accountability is. As being an adult, you're 18. 18, hey, you're grown now. But at 14, you can do something that an 18-year-old would do, and they say, well, he's 14. But at 18, they say, strap his ass to the electric chair. I don't think, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Like I said, this is my opinion. I don't think that you can use I'm 14 as an excuse to do something like that. I was once 14 as well. I committed crimes at 14 as well. But I knew, A, I'm not a killer. B, I'm not going to kill anybody. C, I knew the crimes I was committing was wrong and the possible punishment that came with them. Can you rehabilitate somebody at that age that stabs somebody 114 times? If he goes to prison until he's 21, is it okay? In 7 years from now, would it be okay? No, it's not. He took a life. If a dog bites somebody, the dog is killed right then and there. No matter what, because it should know better, right? People know better as well. At 14 years old, if I threw a rock through your window, I knew there was repercussions. I knew not to just stand there. I knew to run. And if he did this and he's going to say, I didn't mean to, or I don't know what happened, or whatever the case may be, then there are serious issues at hand there. I spoke on the guy years and years ago that I did time with, Toronto McCall. Everybody just called him Toronto. Black guy, athletic build. Toronto was 15 years old when he shot another kid in the back of the head. They were sitting in a car, buying weed. For whatever reason, he pulled this gun out. They were supposed to rob the other kid. He's sitting behind him. And for whatever reason, because there is no real reason, he pulled this gun out and shot this kid. Boom! Right in the back of the head. Kid sitting in the passenger seat. Toronto sitting behind him. Toronto was given life at 15, 16 years old. Because he knew what he had done. I had spoke to him and he said, we was just supposed to rob the kid. He said, I put the gun up. He said, the next thing I knew, the front of the car was just a mess. Kid was dead. I just shot him. Couldn't tell me why he shot him. Couldn't tell me if he intended to shoot him. Just that he killed him. My point on that is, if you do something and you can't explain why you just did it, something's wrong up here. All your wires ain't clicking. Everything ain't connecting. I've done things I didn't know, like, damn, why did I do that? But not a homicide. I've done stupid things, but not something to the extent of taking someone's life. That comes into play with you having no impulse control. You having some type of serious disorder going on in your head, or you just don't give a fuck. And if you just don't give a fuck, that's why penitentiaries are made. Because for the people that don't give a fuck in society, they're the ones that kill. Not always, but they're the ones that mostly kill. I can understand in some situations why people commit murder, why homicide happens. You come in my house, you try to hurt my family, hurt me in the middle of the night. Anyone in, behind my locked doors, I'm going to take you up out of here. And be standing there, cuddled up with my family when the police come in. And I'm going to point at them and say, that's the bad guy. I did it. So I guess now I'm the bad guy. That just goes to tell you, I can see why somebody would do something. If me and another man are engaged in some type of combat and he is trying his hardest to take my life from me, self-preservation is number one in this world. Everybody's going to do what they have to do to stay alive. So if I take that man's life defending my own, once again, I can understand where murder comes into play. There is no excuse for stabbing a 15-year-old girl 114 times. And being 14 years old does not give you a get-out-of-jail-free card or the right, after doing something like that, to say, hey, I'm only 14. I know I stabbed her 114 times, which, took me upwards of a minute, probably longer. But since I'm 14, I'm good, right? Nah, homeboy, you're not. The 14-year-old boy, of course, pled not guilty. Said she was stabbed so many times that the tip of the knife broke off in her skull. That the boy had been bragging to his friends he was going to take somebody in the woods and kill them. And that when she disappeared, he was put in the back of a cop car, took some selfies of himself throwing up the peace sign, and said, has anybody seen Tristan lately? She was discovered not long after that. Fight. Friends are going to beef. There'll be times you and your best friend might get to fist fighting. I've had it happen. I've seen it happen. I've seen dudes that were inseparable, something come in between them or something pissed the other off, and next thing you know, they're throwing blows. I've seen girls that, talk crap to other girls all day long and thought they were the shit, turn around and fist fight each other over a boy. At no point in time is it acceptable to take it to the next level and take somebody's life. That's exactly what happens in the next story. These two kids, these two teens were friends, went out to smoke some weed together. The one boy, Borges, was feeling some type of way, was jealous of the other boy. And well, y'all just listen to what happened next.
Impact statement this afternoon from the mother of Lee Paulino. The 16-year-old was stabbed repeatedly, killed and beheaded by his friend Matthew Borges in November 2016 in Lawrence. The victim's family calls the killing assassination.
With the assassination of Lee Monroe, we were also assassinated because Lee was everything for this family. It was my firstborn. There are no more dreams for the dreamer, the brother, the writer, and the poet that was Lee Monroe Paulino, because the mind of this criminal landed on him as a target and decided to take his life.
Today, the judge sentenced Matthew Borges to 2 consecutive terms of 30 years to life in prison, 1 term for premeditation and 1 for extreme atrocity or cruelty.
We hope that the sentence handed down serves to help him find remorse and repentance in his life.
Defense attorney Ed Hayden argues that his client can be rehabilitated.
But he's not irredeemably depraved. There is hope for his redemption. He can change.
We find out that we got a kid on the way. For some of us, it's good news. I was excited. For some people, it's like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Oh man, got a baby with this girl now. But for most people, it's like, you know, this is awesome. I'm going to be a parent. You feed this baby, you change this baby, you watch it take its first steps, you teach it to talk, cookie, dog, bird, plane. You take your child to school for the first day. Your heart beats because you're scared for them. Man, I hope they're going to be all right. They're going to miss me, or they're going to cry. Everything in you, you know, you want to go back to that school and pick that child up. You love your children, and you do the best you can to raise them up to be good people. Somebody comes along and takes that child from you. That little guy or that little girl that you pointed up at the sky one time and said plain. That child you also pointed up to the sky and said plain could be on the other side and be the one that committed this crime. The act of killing a friend, much less another human being, and then beheading them, is beyond every parent's worst nightmare. Just your kid not being in when the streetlights come on and being, you know, an hour late getting in has you scared to death, to the point that you're like, I hope everything's okay. You're calling, you're texting, you're out riding around, and you find them and you do whatever. Wear their little ass out, put them on punishment. Boy, you scared me to death. And then there are some parents in the world that they didn't have that outcome. Then there are some parents in the world that child didn't come up missing, but was responsible for another child being dead. With the kid y'all just seen, he'll be eligible for parole after 30 years. In 30 years, he can come home. Which makes you question the system we have in place with convicting people and sending people off. Is this a system of justice, or is it a system based on revenge? Think about what I said. Is this a system of justice or a system based on revenge? Do they sentence people because that's what the law says they should have? Or do they sentence people because that's what they feel everyone else wants or needs to see happen? I honestly think that if it has been proven without a shadow of a doubt that you killed someone else in cold blood, there was no reason behind it. It was senseless. You were not in fear of your life. You were not being harmed. Nothing was going on to make you to, act in this manner. I do not see where you can rehabilitate someone that can consciously cut off another person's head. If the anger inside of you allow you to do something like that, you are not normal. You are the reason penitentiaries are made and correctional officers have jobs. I've said it before. I don't hate correctional officers. I understand why they serve a purpose. I don't hate cops. I understand they serve a purpose. I don't like bad cops. I don't like bad correctional officers. They're good and bad in both. There are people that have those jobs that should not. People that abuse their power of authority. Somebody asked me in an email a couple weeks back what the police could have done when I was younger to maybe have curbed me from going down the road I was going down. And to answer that question, because I thought on it a lot, I believe if they would have spoke to me from a human point of view, another person's point of view, a mentor's point of view, it may have had some impact. But cops don't usually do that. When cops put those uniforms on, they become cops. It's like they're no longer one of us. So when we have something going on, there's no real sympathy or seeing it from your point of view. They're seeing it from the eyes of a cop. We have to, as parents, look more into our children. Take a closer look at our kids. And if you see something that's out of place, do something about it. Your child hurts an animal or likes to hurt other kids. That's not normal. That's not, oh, look, my son's tough. That's not normal. As grown-ups, we don't inflict pain on other grown-ups to show dominance. When you do that, that's not normal. Penitentiaries are filled with men and women that were once kids, that committed crimes as teenagers. Some committed crimes as children. Now, if a 5-year-old picks up a gun, walks in the bedroom and shoots his sister, he's 5. But at 14, 15, 16 years old, you understand what a gun does. You understand that this ain't make-believe. When you do this, it's over. The person's not coming back. It's sad to say that there's nothing we can do to stop the things that are going to come in the future. But you can also do your part to try to foresee things that will happen. I don't think many parents went to court with their child after their child killed somebody and said, yeah, I definitely saw this coming. Because anybody with any type of sense, head on their shoulders, or half a brain, if they had seen something like this coming, would have intervened. Don't use, I can't afford counseling. I work too much. Don't use that as an excuse. Because if the shoe was on the other foot and it was your kid laying in a box, you wouldn't be wanting to hear any of that. It's sad at times to think that a life so precious, so beautiful, can be gone so soon. And that the person that took that life, well, a lot of times their life is gone as well. I tell y'all to think before you act. We've all had crazy thoughts. We've all said stupid things. Oh, he makes me so mad I could kill him. But we don't do it. You think before you act. Impulse control. Being able to control what you do. A lot of people don't have it. I hope that you do. Hope y'all enjoyed today's video. I had something completely different planned. But I watch documentaries. I watch the news a lot. And I said, I want to speak on this, man. Let me know if y'all enjoyed this or not. Y'all's input on it. If I said something to offend anyone, I'm sorry. I look at it from both points of view. From the parents of the child that's incarcerated and the parents of the child that's no longer here. I want y'all to do the same. And I want us all to do better, at what we do every day in this world to make it a better place. But anyway, these jails, institutions, detention centers, prisons, they're all just crazier worlds inside of this already crazy world we live in. And as always, y'all know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to keep y'all entertained. Are you not entertained? And as always, this is Jay Williams. Let's live life To all my real ones, and there are some real ones out there watching, because y'all still watching me. Y'all know how we do. Salute.